Not true. It's not genetics. A lot of people think it's genetics, is passed on. Those things are just tales that people said in order to like make us feel worse about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now with like so much research and so much things, resources that we have, I feel that people should, like people should really, really understand that just because you have a mental health disorder, that does not make you, if you follow the right steps.
Right. So, sorry, what is the right steps? Like, how would you know? Because I think I believe I remember when I was going to college, they said that it really hits when you're like 18,
Right.
right? So how do you know, and how do you get someone to actually go and get the services or get help or get diagnosed or whatever the case may be? So I want to just say one thing. I stopped the recording from Facebook, and I'm just recording from here. So
Wow.
once again, my name is Sherneice Gatewood-Alli. This is Queen Nicole. She is talking about mental health disorders. So the reason why Nicole decided to get into the field of mental health is because she mentioned that her mom have mental illnesses. So, and also I remember you said someone else. Who's that someone else?
My sister. My sister.
Okay. So, at what age did your sister and your mom realize they have mental health disorder?
So my mom was like well in her 40s, and my sister was well in her 20s.
Okay. Okay. So, did they have any type of reasons to go? Like, what happened? What really triggered for them to actually go and get what kind of, what kind of doctor do you see if you're going
Right.
through health disorders? Like, talk about that.
So I mean, it was my mom was working. I remember she was working three jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And she felt, because if you don't treat this, it can mess up your health.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's another thing. So she went to the doctor believing that, she was tired all the time. She just wanted to go get a physical. And
Mm.
the doctor told her, I think you should, I guess she was talking to the doctor about what's going on with her, was more so mentally than health wise. And so the doctor told her, I think you should see a psychiatrist.
What? Okay. Okay.
And I still, we've never really touched about why she did it, but she
Mhm.
went, she saw them. They told her that she was, clinically depressed, and she was bipolar.
Oh, okay.
So
So can clinically depressed kick off, because your mom's was way past 18, of course.
mhm.
So did clinically depression um um like, I can't really call it, like, did it did it trigger something, right? Trigger something for it to go into, or was she already there and she didn't know, and then being depressed because she was always working and tired and depressed kicked off something else. So yeah, tell us about that, because we
I
never know
be,
who might be going through that right now.
right. I believe that, I'm so sorry, I had this puppy. I believe that um she suppressed so much. She suppressed so much that I'm so sorry, Shanice.
It's okay. It's
She
all right.
suppressed so much because she didn't have the resources, and so then one day it just finally came out. And that happens to a lot of people too. Like it's something that, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah. So everyone, we are live, and I just want everybody to understand that mental health really plays a big part in our families, and a lot of our families is too afraid to go and get the services because of the stigma. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that is, you're absolutely right. And I always tell everyone, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid, to we have health insurance. Don't be afraid to call your health insurance and tell them, like, I think I might need to see someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that, like I said, I feel that it should be mandated at this point. We're going through so much. Even before the pandemic, it was just we're always in our heads,
Mm-hmm.
even if we don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
always are doubting ourselves. It's just something that I feel that I think, to me, therapy should be mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think it should be mandatory. I think we should talk to somebody at least once a month, someone that's biased to our situation, someone that doesn't know us, someone that, is just there to listen.
That's right. Absolutely. Right.
Because
I definitely appreciate you coming on and talking about this because our our people just feel like they can medicate themselves by smoking or drinking, and realistically you might not even know that you're depressed or you're going through these things. So I mean, how
right.
old is your sister? And let's talk about your sister going through
Hmm.
mental health.
My sister was in her 20s, and I I don't remember exactly. I can't pinpoint exactly when it was. And she went to go get the help. Like, my mom didn't. My sister, as opposed, my sister did. She got the help, but she just felt like she was out of control of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because she didn't want to be. She just felt like she was out of control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she spoke to someone, and they told her, like, you should go speak to a therapist. You should go speak to a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
So she did, and she told me one time she just felt like there was a major weight lifted off her shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
because the people that she was talking to, her best friends or myself or family members, it wasn't like we didn't understand, but we really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So she felt that by speaking to someone that was biased to the situation, wasn't there to judge, she wasn't afraid to speak up, it gave her better understanding of what was going on with herself.
Right. Wow. So, what, which disorder is, I don't want to say the worst because all of them kind of are, they are, especially when you don't have the medication to help you, calm yourself down and things in that nature. But which diagnose is the one that you really need to watch out for?
I honestly, I would want to say all of them,
Mhm.
because one can play a factor on another one.
Mm.
So if you're depressed, it could lead, like I said before, it could lead to health issues.
Mhm.
If you are schizophrenic, it can lead to other issues. It can lead to, like you just said, it could lead to self-medicating. It could lead to self-harming.
Mhm.
It could lead to so many other things. So I can't pinpoint which one. I want to say all of them.
Mhm.
You should just be careful about all of them,
Mhm. Wow.
especially if you are not aware of the situation. Like,
Mhm.
especially if you don't want to talk to nobody. I believe that all of them can trigger an issue.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. Um, it's funny because I have a cousin. Was it's not funny, but I said that because we didn't know, and we was grown as we was growing up. We would kind of tease her, but
Mhm.
as we got older, we started realizing her patterns. So she would go in the bathroom and cut her hair and be
Mhm.
like, "Why these people keep looking at me?" And we're like, "Nobody ain't trying to look."
Right,
No,
right, right.
but in reality, now that we're older, we understand that she's actually, she got some issues, and
Right, right, right.
I don't know what it is. It's not normal stuff that's going on to make you go in the bathroom and just curse people out and cut your hair.
Right.
She have, and I hate the word issues, but she have certain things that's going on with her that we still don't know. And she's in her 50s now. She still live with her parents. Like she's not good to live on her own. She can't live on her own.
Right.
She could go to work, but I guess my aunt and my uncle baby her so much, and I'm so sorry because my uncle's on my Facebook page. But I'm being honest, like something is really wrong. So we used to say, come walk us over to, the hospital down there in Bellevue.
Right.
Come walk us over there, and try to get her to go in. But of course, we was playing, but
Right.
now we understand something is wrong. We was like 12, 13, 14, somewhere around here. But mental health, now I don't know if you know, see, I'm sure you see it, Nicole. All these people who are not getting a proper medication are really, wow, the people on the train station,
Hmm.
really scary.
It's yeah, it's very scary because again, and we don't want to say, I don't want to say that is because of mental health, but yeah, a lot of things play and trigger onto that.
Yeah,
You have PTSD, you have, people that are emotionally disturbed.
right.
A lot of things play onto mental health because I have friends that ask me this question. They're like, but do you really think that person has a mental health disorder?
Hmm.
And I'm like, yes, because it's such a broad spectrum.
Hmm.
Mental health is such a broad spectrum. You don't know what that person is going through. You
Hmm.
don't know what that person has been through.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, it is very scary to see someone that is not taking the medication, is not putting in the work, because it can lead to these things. It can lead to what we've seen on TV.
Wow,
And it's
that's so
unfortunate.
scary. So, I don't know if you know, but I do a lot of work with domestic violence, and um, a lot of women suffer with PTSD, and I feel that they should really make that uh for domestic violence, any type of trauma, yes, but for domestic violence, they really need to put that in law, that if a woman is suffering, or man, because men and
Right.
women go through it,
Right.
whoever that go through domestic violence, they can actually be cleared as PTSD, because sometimes domestic violence can really traumatize you in sexual abuse, because there's so many different type of abuse, right? We got sexual abuse, you got family members
Yeah.
sexually abusing you, and so on and so on, that it will really traumatize you and have you stuck, you know. um why I really want them to like put that in law as PTSD, and
Right. Emphasize that.
right, because
Mhm.
and I guess people don't understand that going through domestic violence is very traumatizing.
Yeah.
Going through sexual
Absolutely.
abuse is very traumatizing. That will really mess you up
Absolutely.
so badly that you can't, you think you could function, but you can't, because they keep popping up in your head. Was I, for me, when somebody go like this, I flinch.
Right.
So
Right.
once you get clinically cleared with PTSD with domestic violence, um, do you think they should at least offer services? Because I think that's the problem with us now.
Yeah. I I I mean, when I am also a victim of domestic violence, and I spoke up.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were talking about before the recording, um I come from a line of women who have been in domestic violence situations
Mm-hmm.
and never spoke up.
Okay.
So when it happened, so I didn't think that that was ever normal. To the line of women, they thought it was normal, you know.
Mm.
And I just never felt right with that situation.
Right.
So I decided when it happened to me to speak up and get resources. And there are resources out there.
Mhm.
There's resources for people, and I'm so happy that we do have all these hotlines and these temporary. There's, I went through domestic violence therapy. You
Mm.
know, there's so much that, but you have to speak up. Like I emphasize that so much. You have to speak up.
Mhm.
So yeah, absolutely. I feel that when you come out of a domestic violence situation, there's always going to be PTSD. Like
Mhm.
you said, for me, it wasn't the hitting or the slapping. For me, it was I internalized it a lot
Mhm.
because well, a little bit about that situation so I can get there. I I was I was he hit me, right? The partner that I had,
Mhm.
and I fell on the ground and
Mhm.
I was unconscious for about 5, 6 seconds.
Mhm.
And I have a really nasty scar, but that's my warrior scar. I tell myself, this is my warrior scar.
Mhm.
And when I got to the hospital and I did everything, I had stitches and everything, the doctor told me that I was unconscious for 7 seconds. And
Wow.
no one, like you say, oh my God, I'm unconscious. But he told me what unconscious means.
Mhm.
Your brain was not receiving oxygen.
Mhm.
You could have died.
Mhm.
So I internalized that a lot.
Mm.
I internalized the fact that I I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't that someone passed by and picked me up.
Wow.
And that's my PTSD.
Mhm.
So I live every day with that saying this, like, thank you, God, every
Yeah.
day.
I could have died, right?
I could have died.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's my PTSD.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yes, you're absolutely right. I believe that when you're in that situation, you're gonna come out of it with some type of PTSD. Whether and it's trust issues,
Mhm.
that can be a form of PTSD. You're
Mhm.
no longer trusting of no one around you. You're no
Mhm.
longer trusting of a partner. So yeah, they do have to emphasize that too when it comes to domestic violence.
Yes.
And they do need to have more like resources, and they have them, but they do need to have more resources when it comes to that situation.
That is true. That is true. So let me just share a video. Um, Lord, uh, once again, I definitely want to say thank you for doing this because this is very much needed to be talked about.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
agree. And like I said, I'm a little young. Um, they don't talk about it my age. Like
Mhm.
and we think that we do talk about it, but a lot of girls in their 20s, they don't talk about this.
Mhm.
And like you said, they self-medicate. They
Mhm.
do, they do stuff that is out of their control because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to understand and come to terms and grasp what's going on with them.
Right. Wow. All right. So a while back, I supposedly.
I want to be remembered as someone who used herself in anything that she touched to work for justice and freedom. I want to be remembered as someone who tried. Dorothy Height. If you get, give. If you learn, teach. Maya Angelou. When they go low, we go high. Michelle Obama.
Turn your wounds into wisdom.
Our very own NYC, a Harlem Women's Empowerment Group, supporting our community, supporting our future. I want to be remembered as someone who used herself in anything that she touched to work for justice and freedom. I want to be remembered as someone who tried. Dorothy Height.
So I share that, and I'm gonna continue to share it. I'm gonna continue to play it. It is Women's Month,
Yes.
so Every day is Women's Day, but it was a month. Okay, fine. However, I I decided to talk on different topics. Usually on this platform, it's Living Behind the Mask, Purple Round Table, and someone will come on and speak about they went through sexual abuse, financial abuse, spirituality abuse, all of these topics. So that way people will also understand that it's not just about physical abuse. Some people just be like, well, he didn't hit me, but he's still talking down to you. He's still taking your money. He's still telling you you can't um praise the God that you want to, you praise, things in that nature. And people are coming out. And I mean, I had people from North Carolina came and on the show on the platform and spoke about their spirituality, spiritual abuse as well, which is very enlightening. If anyone who is listening, you could go on YouTube, which is Living Behind the Mask, WPW, Purple Round Table. So today we're talking to Queen Nicole, and we are definitely getting some information on mental health. One thing that Queen Nicole did mention was if you are going through any type of mental disorders or mental illnesses, please seek help, seek the services. As right now, because of the pandemic, there's so many people that's going through domestic violence, mental health, and suicide. So as you see, we have the number right there on suicide and self-harm. Then we have domestic violence. In the middle, there's LGBTQ, and what is that at the bottom? I can't even see.
We have abortion here,
Right.
bullying, sexual assault, pregnancy, infant and child loss, and then grief.
And
Yeah.
grief. And that's something that a lot of us need to pay attention to because a lot of our family members are dying from COVID-19. So if anyone would like to receive some information, please feel free to reach out to wearephenomenalwoman.com, which is my website. So,
And it's free. All these services are free. Like I
right,
tell people all the time, like I'm scared, my health insurance. I want her like, oh, my health insurance is gonna tell my job. No,
no,
it's confident. It has to be confidentiality. If you don't want to, you can call 311 and ask for their free services. It is free.
right. And then not only that, people don't understand that there's HIPAA laws. Your job cannot know. The only way your job knows is by you telling people at your job. Otherwise, that one thing people don't understand as well is going to HR and speak to them about the FMLA, which
Yes.
is family medical leave. You can also do that if you're going through domestic violence, if you're going through grief or any of
Yeah.
those type of things, you could go to them and ask them for the FMLA, and that would save you for getting fired because you couldn't get up and go to work the next day.
Yeah.
um
That's
um
good.
Now with mental health, right? Schizophrenia, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, um I know, as I have heard or read, people who have schizophrenia are they hear things, they hear voices.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
am I going down the right? Okay.
Yeah.
um if a person do not get the proper medication for schizophrenia, what can happen?
They can harm themselves or they can harm others.
Mm,
And, you know, again, big example, we see people on the train pushing people onto the train tracks because they heard voices in their heads.
mm,
So you can definitely harm yourself or others if you don't get the proper help for that.
mhm, mhm.
And um, I can't stress this enough either about medication because we're so prone to like, I don't want to put this in my body. I don't want this. Now with the COVID vaccine, a lot of people's like, no, I don't know what's that. This is why you have to advocate for yourself.
Ooh, that's a good one.
If your medication is not working, if you know your body, if the medication is not doing anything for you or you're not feeling comfortable, go back to the doctor and tell them, I need off. What is the other alternative to this? There's, there's Invega shots. Invega shots is basically a 31-day shot as opposed to medication. Some people
What is
think
that one called?
Invega.
Invega. Okay.
This is a shot that, a lot of my clients, they choose that one because they don't want to hassle with monthly medication. So they take it at the beginning of the month, they're good to go. This one has less side effects and everything. So you have to advocate for yourself. No one knows you more than you know yourself. If something is not working for you as far as medication, as far as therapy, because I've been through my fair of therapists. And if I'm not comfortable, hey, I'm sorry, all due respect, we just not clicking. Can I get sent, can I get transferred to another therapist? You have to advocate for yourself for this to work, is what I tell people. It's not easy. It's not easy acknowledging that you have a mental health disorder. It's not easy coming to terms with it. It's not easy speaking about it, but you need to advocate for yourself in order for you to be better.
This is so true. That's the thing too. Like, why are we so ashamed? Like, at what age should we just be like, look? Because I know you always say, my age group, but it's not just, your age group. It's everyone who is ashamed for people to talk about them.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, talk to me about that. How do you feel about that one?
I mean, I don't think there's an age group for that, but I definitely feel that, like you have said before, like, studies show that at 18 is when you start, they can diagnose you. They can't diagnose a child. So at 18, they can start diagnosing you. So, but I just feel that the way we're going in life, we can't pinpoint age group when this is happening. We can't pinpoint age group. So that's why, once more, I sound like a broken record. I want people to understand this too. You have to listen to your child. You have to listen to your kids. You have to listen to your partners. You have to listen to your friends. We owe that to people too. Although we can't diagnose a child until they're 18, listen to them. Because there's also resources for that. So that when they get to that stage, 18, 19, they already worked out the kinks.
Right.
So I don't think there's an age for it, although studies suggest. I just think that if you do feel this way at whatever age, speak up.
Right. I do not believe, me personally, do not believe a parent should be so quick to pump pills in their children at early ages. And the reason why I say that is because children's going to be children.
Right.
Children is going to do certain things. And I think if they have, for example, if a child is attempting to cut themselves, that's something different.
Right.
Or if a child attempt to cut someone else, that's something different. Because remind you, that child is harming themselves and harming others. But if the child is talking back to you, things of that nature,
I don't overly hyper.
Right, or hyper. I don't think we should pump medication into them so quickly because they want to run around and zoom, zoom, zoom everywhere. I mean, look, you have a pet at home. So your dog, I heard him barking. So he's hyper. He can't wait to see you, He's all over the place. So do you pump medication? And right.
I've tried. I've had this conversation so much. There's so many avenues we can take with children before medication. So I'm on the fence about it because I do feel that there's certain kids that can benefit from medication,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel that that should not be the immediate answer.
Right.
We live in New York City. There's local parks and recreations. Okay. My nephew was in a swimming class free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From through parks and recreation. There's many avenues that you can take.
Mm-hmm.
There's summer camps for free. Fresh Air Fund still exists.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that you can do before you take that route,
Mm-hmm.
because a child is going to be a child, and this is the way that they're expressing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they're expressing themselves negatively, like you said, um, through self-harm, through harming others,
Mm-hmm.
then that is something that you need to discuss with a professional. But
Right.
if they're overly active, and if they and I don't judge, I'm not judging anyone, because there's mothers of 5 kids and they're losing it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain plateaus you can go about before medicating.
Right.
And
Right.
this is for adults as well. Like, you know, I know that I should be telling my clients take your medication, but there's certain people that honestly they've learned so much about their mental health diagnosis. They know how to handle their triggers, they know how to handle their episodes, that they don't really need to be on medication, because all that medication is doing is bringing them down. As
Mm-hmm.
opposed to this, there's clients that on the medication function very well. They can't go a day without it because they're going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very,
Depend on the person.
it depends on the person and how you tolerate medication, how you tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah.
Okay. 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 Wow. Because I'm an asthmatic, so some people feel like, and I've been living on the 6th floor. Woke up for 20 plus years,
Mm,
and I learned how to control my breathing.
right.
At times I might have to use this, but at times I don't have to use it because I would
Right.
just control my own breathing. So I can't compare asthma with mental health because that's something totally different. But
Mhm.
what you're saying is when a person learn, first of all, accept the fact that you have a mental disorder
Right.
and be okay
Right.
and learn about it, because once you learn about your mental disorder, you're learning something about yourself.
Hmm.
Because remind you, if I'm not mistaken, it's like asthma you could grow out of it, but mental health you just can't. You just
Right.
can't just
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Um yeah, I think that's really, really helpful for people to just accept it first
Absolutely.
and be okay with it and do your own research.
And learn how to navigate it. I
Mm.
believe that, like I said in the beginning, had I not did my research when my mom was diagnosed,
Mhm.
I would not know how to navigate our relationship.
Mm. Speaking about
Because
that, that's a good one.
she
Relationship.
gave me, it was pushback. It was a lot of pushback. Growing up, my mother will be in the room for 4 days sleeping. I'm outside on the other door putting food, you okay? Putting food on a tray and waiting for her to open the door and get it. I didn't know.
Mhm.
So when I learned now, and there's boundaries as well. I learned when she's not doing well. I learned when she is doing well. I know when she is going through an episode, and I navigate through it
Mm.
because I have the resources to help someone that's going through that.
Good for you. How is that? Have you ever dated someone who has mental disorders?
Um, yes, yeah.
Wow. How was that? Would you be able to share a little bit?
Like I had said, the partner that I was in a situation with, the domestic violence situation, I believe that he had a mental health disorder.
Okay.
I believe he had PTSD,
Mhm.
and it wasn't treated. So he did things to harm other people to make himself feel better. To
Wow.
kind of paint the picture of, I don't have this PTSD. I'm not going through this. Let me hurt people. And that's another mental health situation.
Yes.
Because you can't do that. Honestly, hurt people, and that is something that's within. So that's a mental health issue. That's mentally.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've been through it. Um, I'm recently separated, and as well for that, my husband was going through a mental health disorder that he
Wow.
didn't know what he didn't know, and he couldn't cope.
Mm.
So he turns to self-medicating. He turns to lashing out. He turns to doing things because of that, because he cannot handle the mental state that he's in.
Mm. Okay. Wow. That's deep. I wonder, I don't you know, okay, so older women
Mhm.
go through hot flashes. So
Oh,
that before they go through the hot flash, they get well, when they go through the hot flash, like when you know you're about to go through it, before you start stripping off your clothes, you get this summertime 90-degree thing going on, and then
mhm.
all of a sudden you just cool down. So I wonder if a person who have it and don't know they have it, like what triggers in their mind to make them boom, you know? I'm listening to you and all of these thoughts is coming to my head. I really wish I had the opportunity to really sit down with somebody that's okay to talk about it.
Right,
Because I wouldn't want to talk to somebody who don't want to accept it and they be boom, 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 boom on me.
right, right.
So it's like, what triggers you? What do you know that this is about to go on in your head? Or, what is the signs so that way you can control? Like, listen, I have to leave. I have
A
to go.
lot of my clients, well, some stress,
Mm,
stress is the number one factor. We don't know how to handle stress sometimes. We weren't taught how to handle it. Some people, it's just stress is the number one factor.
mm-hmm, that's true.
Suppressing suppressing things is another one,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because we suppress, and we're not letting it out, and that can also trigger what is going on.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a good one too. I wish I can sit down and speak to someone that's okay, that's taking the medication, and then so we can better understand.
Right.
But for the meantime, I feel that there's many of triggers. There's
Mm-hmm.
many. There's, like you said, PTSD. There's stress. There's pandemic, um, job loss. Abandonment. Like, it's so much that can trigger a person.
Right. Wow. You hit some good points. You definitely
Mhm.
do. Wow. That's some good stuff. I definitely want to bring you back on again.
Sure.
And this time when you come back on, I would love for you to um set up set up different disorders so that way we can have a great understanding because there's a few. They
Yeah.
are in the
Yeah.
DSM. It's a lot.
Definitely.
I had
Right.
to pull out my book from college to like, but that was like 20 years.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's like it probably some that I don't know of. I'm not sure. So that would be very, very helpful because remind you, this platform is about educating our people. You
I
know,
agree.
um, we want to educate. We want people to understand that you're not alone. It's okay. It's
Yep.
okay to get the services. You don't have to stay in that type of situation. With especially with domestic violence and with mental health. It's okay to get therapy. It's okay to go talk to somebody. What's not okay is you understanding or feel uncomfortable or unease with yourself and you're not trying to get the proper help.
Right.
That's not what's okay. um
That is
I want
so
to say because of the pandemic, um people are cooped up in the house, especially at the beginning.
no.
Especially at the
Yeah.
so they had those on lockdown, and people probably had a lot of people had to like stay put because some of us, like you said, your mom's had 3 jobs, you know what I'm saying? So she was just all over the place and not really getting a good grasp of who she is. So
Right.
now, since the pandemic is like, shut up and sit down.
Think and you be in your thoughts. Be in your thoughts.
Right. So one thing I do know that I really, really enjoy, and we just met because Nicole just came on the scene at the job. I love the fact that you speak on spirituality.
Hmm.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What
Yeah.
made you get into that?
Um, so I've always I come from a Pentecostal family. So I've always gone to church. That's but as I've gotten older, I've started to realize that there is a God, but I feed off of energy. We feed off of what the universe gives us and what we give to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm big on, and that's another mark on mental health. I'm big on protecting your energy, protecting the energy around you, because you can go off if the wrong energy comes in between yours. You can have a bad day if you just, the energy was not there. The environment, your boss talked to you, talk down on you, and now the energy and the environment in that office is not the same. So I'm really big on taking care of your energy,
Mm-hmm.
having boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
um, respecting your space,
Mm-hmm.
respecting spaces of those around you. I'm really big on that.
Mm-hmm.
We can say no.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we pour too much into other people's cups that we forget to pour in our own, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to have that balance because, again, it's not even about mental illness. It's just about protecting your mental,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, because no one's gonna do that the way you do it.
Right. Right.
So we
Absolutely.
should have boundaries. We should have energies. We should understand this energy. Like, hey, I don't like her energy. That's my boss.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Let me see how I can do. Let me try to make this work. Let me try to go through this avenue, this avenue. So I'm big on that.
That's what's up. Yeah. I'm about energy as well. I am. I cannot stand for I try to stay positive as much as I can. Um but I cannot stand with somebody
Right. No, right, right, right.
like I'm
It-
off now, and that can also affect your mental your mental behavior.
yes. No, your mental behavior. There you go.
And
Yeah, because if it doesn't, and I always thought this, like, and I'm learning still, if it doesn't feel right, it ain't right. If it doesn't feel right to you, then listen to that. That is your intuition telling you something. And
Mm,
again, no one knows you better than yourself and what you've gone through and
that's
what you want to put up with and do not want to put up with.
right, right.
And we have to do it respectfully. I believe that you do it respectfully and mindfully.
That's right. Absolutely.
So
I think we have lost, within the years, we have lost self-respect for ourselves and for others. I know we get off the topic of mental health, but I do believe we're lacking, love and respect.
oh, absolutely.
I know I did Thrive NYC, before the pandemic shut down, the mayor's wife, Charlene, she has the Thrive NYC. So
Right.
what I
So I
did
remember
was
seeing.
I set up a few workshops with Thrive NYC.
Okay.
And as long as I got the space, people let me get the space. We had so many people that received a certificate.
Mhm.
I received mine back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I
Okay.
received my first certificate, and I believe it helped. Let me tell you why. Because a person who don't understand that a person is mentally challenged will laugh, right? A person who don't understand that someone is suffering with, whatever it is, they will talk crap about them.
Mhm. Mhm.
I remember it was an exercise where they had us to fold up. So you have three people. So I'm in the middle,
Mhm.
and then one person is talking in my ear, and then you have another person. I'm having a conversation. So the
Mhm.
person that's talking on this side is saying certain things. It's like schizophrenia,
Mhm. Mhm.
because a person who have that disorder, they're hearing voices and you don't even know. So
Right.
you over here,
Right.
and this person is hearing kill, kill, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and that person will snap and just do whatever the voice says.
Right.
And I appreciate that exercise, because it helped me understand when a person eyes are looking different.
The gaze, yeah, the mannerisms. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So, some people said that workshop did not help. It did help.
Okay. And
Hmm.
like I've said before, it helped you. It may not have helped others, and that's fine too.
Hmm.
That's fine too.
Hmm. Well, they have all the way. I think they have three. I took two, and the last one I was going to get for seniors, and
Okay.
that's when the pandemic hit. So I
Okay.
have all type of books in my house on the Drive NYC, my husband and I, which was extremely helpful, because they also break down the different disorders as well, even with
Mhm.
the children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it was very helpful for myself. With that being said, I do want to show one more. I want to show a picture of a young lady that she is missing right now at the age of 12 years old.
Oh,
Yeah. And her mother been looking for her for, I think, a month now.
my prayers. Amen.
Yeah. Um, 1 minute. I
Yeah,
just
we
want to
need
show
to pick
this.
that up. Yeah.
If
Oh,
I can find it. Okay. Do you see that?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So anybody see this young lady? She's 12 years old, and the last time she was seen was February 15th. So it have not been a month as of yet, but
All right.
you know, um, we are in March 2nd. We would love for people to take a picture of this. If I'm able to make
Mhm.
it bigger, that would be good. Take a picture of it, and
What area is she from?
uh,
What area is she from?
I
She
think
is
she's
from.
from Jersey. It's someone that, or she's not from out here in Harlem. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So this is someone that my husband knows, the mother,
Okay.
and the last
Okay.
time she had on black. Let me see. She was wearing a black
Black
jacket,
Jack.
sweater, black sweatpants, and a black and orange sweater. So if anyone see
Okay.
this young lady or know where she might be, the number there is 1-800-577-TIPS, or just call 911. And the precinct, it was 122 precinct. So,
Right. Okay. That sounds good.
so Nicole, I want to say thank you once
Mhm.
again.
Thank you.
Yes. So we will definitely
Deserve it.
come back and
Yeah,
revise
definitely.
and break down, some more stuff, some PowerPoints, some
Yeah,
slides, whatever you want to give us. We are here to
that
accept
sounds
information.
that sounds good.
And
Definitely break down some more. I
yes.
think that it'll be good to know the different mental healths,
Mhm.
the mental disorders, I mean, and some resources.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Because right now a lot of our children, well, I think they started going back to school, but what really got me going to a lot of our children start thinking about suicide because they're
Yeah.
not, out there with their friends or whatever have you, or
Yeah.
family members passed away. You have some mothers and dads that's dying from COVID. The children are not, they don't know how to cope.
Right.
We don't know how to cope. So, like I said, anybody who would like to get this information, suicide, bullying, self-harm, and then we also have sexual harassment, if I'm not mistaken, LGBTQ, we got grief down there, and we also have domestic violence. So if anybody's going through any of those things, please feel free to reach out to wearephenomenalwoman.com. Yes, Nicole?
And not even if they're going through it, if you know someone that's going through it and can use the services,
That's,
we have to help each other.
that's
We
right.
have to help.
That's right.
So if it's not you, if it's someone, a friend, a neighbor, a coworker that you feel that is presenting some issues, don't be afraid to call on behalf of them.
There you go. So
Yeah.
true. So true.
Yeah.
Is that we are in this type of field, we want to help people because if, we are in a situation, we want people to help us.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I say peace to everybody. Nicole, I see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. You're welcome. I hope you wasn't too nervous, but
So this is good.
it's
Everyone
just
have
a
a good
conversation.
night.
Just a conversation.
It was, and I hope that it does touch people. I hope it touches someone, and we just get this out.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
There you
So,
go. So peace,
yes.
queen. I'll see you at work soon.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.